Hello everyone, my name is Vincent Teo. I'm a TV reviewer and professional calibrator. Today we're taking a look at the LG E9, which is a step-up model from the C9 we tested a few months ago, featuring a premium picture-on-glass design and upgraded sound output. This is the 55-inch version, model number LG OLED55E9, which commands a street price of around £2,000 at the time I filmed this video in November 2019. But it's also available in a larger 65-inch screen size. I've always admired the picture-on-glass design on last year's LG E8, but I genuinely think that the E9 has taken it up a notch. There's now no tabletop stand showing from the front of the TV, so you truly get a complete screen floating in air appearance, with an LG OLED inscription tastefully etched on the bottom right corner of the glass pane. The cable management system round the back of the E9 is more effective too. You are less likely to see dangling wires through the bottom glass than on the E8. The built-in TV speakers on the E9 are also front-firing, providing superior imaging, soundstage and bass response to the C9s, especially if you experiment with the AI sound and AI acoustic tuning function, which will optimize the sound quality through measurements of a test sound using the remote microphone. We tested ERRC using a Denon X3500 receiver, and it worked well, passing Dolby True HD Atmos soundtrack from 4K Blu-rays through the E9's HDMI port. The supplied Magic Remote isn't too different from the C9's. The last time the E-series featured a more premium remote than on the C-series was probably 2 years ago on the E7. Before I move on to talk about picture quality, I would like to thank Richard Sounds Manchester for sponsoring this video. If you are thinking about buying a new TV, even if it's not the LG E9, please support this channel by considering buying from them. Call 0333 900 0086, mention HDTV test, and you will receive great price and service. Thanks again for your support. The LG E9 features the same panel and chipset as the C9, so if you have watched our video review of the C9, you'll know what to expect. The onboard OLED panel is a 2019 one with notched subpixels. Except for Panasonic, who has caught and eradicated the near black chrominance overshoot issue as early as 2018, LG Electronics have put in more effort than other OLED brands to suppress flashing artifacts in poorly compressed dark scenes, and the dithering fix was already implemented on 2019 sets, including the E9 from launch. Therefore, any near black flashing was as good as gone on our review sample, even on the many notorious test sequences we ran in a pitch black room. Color accuracy was stunning after manual calibration. In this very challenging color checker SG chart where 140 color patches were measured, average delta error measured only 0.73, with no inaccuracy exceeding the humanly perceptible threshold of delta error 3, which in turn translates to wonderfully natural and realistic colors in real-world viewing. The native 120Hz panel meant that 5.5 pull-down could be applied correctly to present slow panning shots in 24 frames per second movies without telecinic judder. With True Motion disabled, motion resolution came in at the sample and hold baseline of 300 lines according to this horizontally scrolling test pattern from the FPD benchmark test disk. This can be boosted to the OLED ceiling of 650 lines by engaging motion compensated frame interpolation, or OLED motion black frame insertion, although as is the case with all OLED televisions we have reviewed to date, the resulting BFI flicker was fairly distracting and tiring to our eyes in brighter scenes, so we prefer not to use it. Screen uniformity was excellent on our review unit, with no sign of dirty screen effect, color tinting or banding on full-field gray slides, and no significant vertical streaks or vignetting near black. Upscaling quality was right up there in the top tier among OLEDs, but as we have bemoaned time and again, there is simply no way to disable overscan on an LG TV with standard definition or SD video signal. For HDR, peak brightness measured close to 700 nits on a 10% window at D65 white point, consistent with most of the 2019 LG OLEDs we've reviewed and calibrated. Full-field peak brightness was 145 nits, and white color gamut coverage measured 99% UV for DCI P3 and 75% UV for REC 2020. Note that as of firmware 4.70.05, which is the latest at the time I filmed this video in early November 2019, using Kalman AutoCal to calibrate HDR would elevate the blacks, as you can see from this brightness test pattern from the Spears & Munsell UHD HDR benchmark disc, compared with the same test pattern captured using the same camera settings on another HDR picture preset which was calibrated manually. Input lag measured a class-leading 13 milliseconds in both 1080p SDR and 4K HDR game modes, and firmware 4.70.05 added an extra HGIG option under the dynamic tone mapping setting, but only in game mode. For those of you who don't know, HGIG stands for HDR Gaming Interest Group and is a consortium of various companies including LG, Microsoft and Sony that recommends best practice guidelines for improving consumer experience during HDR gameplay. There are 3 sets of best practice recommendations aimed at display manufacturers, game console manufacturers, and game developers respectively. Remember the recent Sony PS4 system update 7.0 which added some HDR adjustment screens. That's Sony adding HGIG support on the PlayStation 4, as explained by my colleague Adam Fairclough, whose online username is Evil Boris, not to be confused with our current UK Prime Minister. Adam is a really nice guy, and the only evil thing he has done is to pronounce HGIG as HGIG in his video, which confused the hell out of a non-native English speaker such as Vinny. Anyway, Sony has played its part by updating the PS4, and firmware 4.70.05 represents LG's effort at fulfilling its HGIG responsibility, the first we know of among TV makers. According to our EOTF measurements, selecting HGIG would result in a hard clip at around 700 nits on our LG E9 review sample, even though we were sending 4000 nit maximum display luminance and max CLL metadata. Compare this with dynamic tone mapping off, where the television will still perform static tone mapping to gradually roll off from 300 nits onwards so that specular highlight detail up to 4000 nits can be preserved. You can also see the hard clipping produced by HGIG in this Ryan Mazziola HDR10 test pattern. Now, in line with HGIG best practices, asking the TV to hard clip is more useful, since the required parameters for in-game tone mapping can already be derived from the game console HGIG calibration screen, and we want to avoid a situation where the TV is performing tone mapping on an already tone-mapped video signal. It's like adding more milk to a perfectly made latte. As the Xbox One X and more games get patched with HGIG support in the future, the HGIG setting on LG's 2019 OLEDs will become even more important for the best HDR gaming experience. Another feature on 2019 LG OLED televisions that's of high interest to PC gamers is NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility. But unfortunately, the necessary firmware update hasn't arrived on our LG E9 at the time we filmed this video, and we have to return the review sample in a few days' time. We will cover it in a separate video if we manage to get our hands on the necessary hardware and TV again. In summary, the LG E9 is one of the best TVs you can buy in 2019, thanks to OLED-powered picture quality, full-fat HDMI 2.1 support, and a number of exclusive gaming features such as HGIG and NVIDIA G-Sync compatibility. Whether it's worth paying £500 more for the E9 over the step-down C9 is a question only you yourself can answer, given your circumstances and budget. It's like deciding whether to buy premium economy or just economy tickets when flying from London to New York, or whether to add 18-inch alloys and rain-sensing wipers to the new car you are ordering. From our point of view, £500 is a fair premium to pay for the picture-on-glass design, which is decidedly more upmarket, and better inbuilt speakers, which can give most £300 soundbars a good run for their money. And based on what happened over the past couple of years, we expect this price difference to shrink even further on Black Friday. If you have found this video useful, please click the like button and subscribe to the HDTV Test YouTube channel for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.